Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Cover It 2 podcast, and let's dive on into what we have to talk about for this video. So, yesterday, Dejounte Murray got moved. Now, there was a lot of rumors and rumblings of which Atlanta guard's going to get moved. Is it going to be Trey? Is it going to be Dejounte? Is it what's the future? Because Atlanta in the draft, I'm not going to say they messed it up because there was no doubt you have to take him number 1 overall. They took the French forward over the French center, and I would have taken Alex Sarr, who was the French center that a lot of people thought was going to go number 1. But I think that the other kid that they took will end up, working well long term. But this move it didn't surprise me because we saw the Hawks. It's what they're 4 years removed now from 3 years removed now from a Eastern Conference Finals appearance, and they've been trying to get back there. But the thing is, when they first made the move for Dejounte Murray, I was like, okay, in theory it works. You bring another star to the backcourt. Everything that Trae Young is not, Dejounte Murray is. Trae Young, not the best, defender, really below average due to his size. But Dejounte is a fantastic on-ball and perimeter defender. He's fantastic. We saw that when he was with the Spurs, and we saw that in Atlanta. And then when Trae Young, was it a handbrake he had? I don't remember if he broke his hand, but he had that hand injury that sidelined him for the better half of the second half of the NBA season. And Dejounte Murray picked it up and ran with it. He was fantastic. Had a handful of game winners. And so then the rumblings start happening of, okay, well, someone's gonna move. The Atlanta Hawks, this year and really since they made the Eastern Conference Finals 3 years ago, they've just been coasting. They're not a bad team, but they're not a good team. They're around that 6 to 10 range in the East, which to me, once again, middle of the pack, good, not great at all. And do they have a lot of holes in their team? Yes. Are they, light years away from competing in the East? What do you mean by competing? Could they go toe to toe with Boston? Absolutely not. Milwaukee? No. Philly? No. New York? No. But they could be, they could be a team that, okay, no, we don't want to, see, because we see what, in theory, Trae Young could be at his apex. Fantastic scorer, fantastic playmaker, fantastic floor general offensive player. Fantastic. The thing with the Hawks is, their defense, they're not the biggest team. They are also just really young. Now, they are letting Saddiq Bey enter free agency, and I thought he had a really good year in Atlanta. But let's stay on topic with this trade. What does it mean for the Hawks and specifically the Pelicans? The West is just gonna be hell. There's gonna be not almost no bad teams because every year there's a plethora of bad teams, East or West. But for the West, there's a if you just take away your big dogs, like your Minnesota, your Denver, wherever you have the Lakers, the Mavs, not to mention whatever happens with the Clippers, who we're going to talk to in a later video coming out later tonight. The Pelicans, talent-wise, they now put their name in the hat of, oh, we have a very strong starting five. Now, I don't know what they're going to do with the center position due to Jonas Valanciunas, with his future being up in the air with the team. But you now have a starting, five when you go 1 through 4. Dejounte, CJ, BI, Brandon Ingram, and Zion Williamson. Now, in theory, on paper, it's, this could be a fantastic team. But you're in the West. These games are going to be hard. These games are going to be played against, the upper echelon of the NBA. Now, the Pelicans haven't had, a lot of rah-rah or buzz since they got Zion. They got Zion. They're a fun team. They're a fun team, and even last year they got beat in the first round by the Thunder. But they're a fun team, and if Zion doesn't, mess up his hamstring in the playing game against the Lakers, maybe they beat the Lakers and then they play the Nuggets and put up a better fight. Or maybe they even put up a better fight against the Thunder. But with all that being said, I do like the move for the Pelicans. It now puts them in the, like I mentioned earlier, it puts their name in the hat in the Western Conference. Because when you're in the West, you have to have so much talent. And it adds another ball handler that we saw late in playoff games and just in games of the regular season. We had the ball in CJ's hand, and as much as Zion developed this year as a on the ball presence and passer and scorer, and Brandon Ingram's not a facilitator, they need another ball handler. CJ is good. Zion is starting to develop more on the ball, but Dejounte can just be that. Okay, guys, I will play both ends. I'll be the best perimeter defender on said team, other than Herb Jones. So, and their closing lineup, yeah, it could be small, but their closing lineup could be, Dejounte, CJ, Bi, Herb Jones, or Trey Murphy, whichever one is either hot or whichever one they prefer, and then Zion. Yeah, you're gonna be small, but you're gonna be fast, young, crazy athletic, and not that Zion's gonna play center the whole game, but if you could go like your final 4 minutes of, because even though Zion is undersized, his athleticism is off the charts, not charts. But yeah, for both teams, I like it. Um, I thought that the Hawks got not obviously when you're trading a player of Dejounte Murray's caliber, you want more. But for the package, they got Larry Nance Jr., you know, good athletic backup center or forward. Dyson Daniels, really, really young, tall, long point guard, backup point guard. Having a 6'8" point guard, and another thing, he's 20. Last year was his second year in the NBA. Now, who knows? When players are so young and they're just thrown into these trade packages, it's like, well, he might not be much now, but your potential is there. He has good size. He's young. It's a new system. Maybe he might get more minutes. Maybe he could develop into being, a really, really strong backup guard, or he's long enough to be a forward. So they get two first round picks, in which Atlanta did not have a pick, or yeah, they did not have a pick in next year's draft. Which I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm the most, I'm not the source to go to when it comes to college basketball with players, names, schools, things like that. But from everything that I've read and seen, it's going to be a really talented draft next year. And the fact that Atlanta didn't have a pick due to the Dejounte Murray trade, now they trade back into a very talented draft next season, and they get a 2027 pick for the future. That, hey, maybe if the kid they took number one and Jalen Johnson and Trae Young start to mesh really well together, and maybe they're a piece away, you have another draft pick for the future to maybe package and try and get something else. You know, I feel like in the NBA, draft picks are more, not trade bait, but you're more likely to see them get, tossed around than you would for the NFL. That's my thoughts and opinions on this trade. As always, be sure to check us out on Twitter at the Cover 2 Pod 26. 2 on Twitter is spelled TO. Link is also in the description just to make it a little bit easier to find. As always, thank you so much for watching this episode of the Cover 2 Podcast. For the Cover 2 Podcast, I'm Lawson Turner, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.